Well, it's a nice day today, so we got the door open. We got the frame painted, and we'll start to get things laid out and in the order so we know where they go. We can see here that we've got the rear end sitting up where it goes, and the floor pan's in place, and then we've got this nose piece sitting on there. And the more pieces we can figure out where they go, the easier it's going to be to get this thing put together. Still got to clean parts, trying to get all the nuts and bolts organized. You know, guys, when you take these things apart, the best thing you can do is put the nuts and the bolts and the washers back together, put them in a bag and mark them. Don't just throw them in a big bucket and try to figure it out later. It takes forever. Take them and clean them, get them all cleaned up, ready to put back together, bag them and tag them, and the assembly job will go much better. Right now we're just trying to see what parts we have and what parts we don't have, and make a list. We made a little bit of progress here in the last couple of days. We've got the front valance in, the badge bar, figured out how to mount the headlights, figured out how the radiator goes. We had to fab up this little piece right here for the headlight. We had one on the other side, but didn't have this one. So we've got to drill and tap some holes there yet, but at least we got figured out where it goes. Also spent a little bit of time today fitting in the clutch and brake pedal. It's a kind of a tricky situation. It took a while to figure out how it goes since everything comes in pieces. You kind of keep playing with it till you figure out how to get it in there. I sure wouldn't want to have to do that when the car was all put together. And we managed to get the handbrake assembly in where it goes. So we want to highlight this brake pedal assembly a little bit here. It was kind of a pain in the wazoo to put in there. Since everything came in a big pile in a bucket, we had no idea what went where and who went with what or how they did it. Took a while to figure it out, but essentially there's a pin that runs through both the clutch pedal and the brake pedal and rides in a boss in this bracket that's fastened to the frame. And that's all well and good, except some genius engineer someplace decided to attach this bracket to the frame with bolts and one rivet. So why the hell they would do that, I have no idea. But in order to take the bracket off the frame, you'd have to grind a rivet out and knock it out and either replace it with a bolt or, to be right, put another rivet in there. So what happens is you have a double spring washer here and a flat washer and a cotter pin, and then you have the same thing on the inside edge, and it's a little tricky to get this cotter pin, this inside cotter pin, down in the hole where it belongs. And you have to be careful when you put this pin in, because the cotter pin holes are not equidistant, or they're not the same distance from the end of the pin on either end. This one, the cotter pin hole is right out the end of the pin, but on this end the cotter pin hole's in about a ½ an inch from the end of the pin, and that's so the end of the pin can ride in the bearing boss down inside there. And then these spring washers keep tension on the pedals and keep them from wobbling around. If the bushings in here inside these pedals get worn, the pedals can wobble around, and that can be aggravating. But this is a particularly aggravating job, and I can imagine that if the car's all put together, it's really an aggravating job. But we got her done, figured it out, got her done. So now I have this lovely piece of equipment here. This is what's called the Fume excluder. I suppose in the backyard we'd just call it a rubber boot, but they call it a Fume excluder. And what it does, it goes down over these two pedals and seals the floor up, and you have a metal ring that bolts everything to the floor. So we're going to have to replace that. We probably make this metal ring ourselves, but can only buy it for 10 bucks. Sometimes you just got to pay the man you know, your time is worth more than what it costs to make that thing. But when we get a little further along, we'll get a new one of those. It's a little tricky to get on the pedals. We'll show you how to do that, and we'll just move on to the next project. This part of the project, we've set the tub section up on some tables and cut some 4x2s to bolt the main body rails down to, like it would be bolted to the frame. And this way we can work on the tub section and all the wood and everything separate from the rest of the car. This makes it quite a little bit easier, but still a long way to go. When we had a chance to make this rear bulkhead, we used the original sheet of plywood as a template and cut out this new piece, transferred over all the holes, and we've got it mocked up in the back of the tub here. Got a new metal cap on the top, just clamped in place. It's a slow process, so we just one piece at a time. On the other side of the rear bulkhead, we have the original top piece clamped in place, and we've made a new metal pan that goes down in the back, and that's where the side curtains get stored. Eventually it gets lined with a felt material. You can see some of the green felt on the side. So we're just kind of mocking pieces up, making pieces, working as we go. You can see the side rails there that we made in the milling machine. We've got a new piece for the front here. We just don't have it put in yet. Got to transfer the holes. Today we got some goodies in the mail. Open them up and see what we got here. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. No pun intended. This stuff we ordered from England because couldn't find it in the United States, and the people over there were quick to send it to us. So we'll see what we got. A lot of cardboard. Well, this is a critical piece that we were missing from our collection of parts. This is a spare tire carrier, and we have the metal frame for the spare tire carrier, but we did not have this piece and could not find one anywhere. So we went online and looked around, and a gentleman in England had this, so we snapped it up and had it sent here. One less part that we need. We got a second package, another one from England. Funny how this stuff from England comes faster than stuff you get from the States. Interesting that. This is something that is available in the United States, but I think we got a better price on it from England. Sometimes, believe it or not, it's cheaper to buy stuff over there and have it sent over here than it is to buy it here. But this is a nice little medallion or badge that goes on the radiator grill shell. We did not have this. Nicely done. Probably made in Timbuktu or someplace, but looks nice nonetheless. One more part checked off the list. Our last package today, I'm from Michigan, believe it or not. Took longer to get here than the stuff from England. But hopefully it'll help us. This is, wow, an MG workshop manual. Complete tuning and maintenance for all models. Wow, man. A book of instructions. Looks a little used, but that's alright. We're going to use it. Look at that. Pictures. Instructions. Special tuning for trials works. Now there you go. Well, most of these books tell you everything but what you need to know. So we'll see how this one works out.